Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Outside Insider podcast. You guys know the score by now. All things Eagles related, unfortunately wrapped up and delivered to you like an Amazon Prime parcel that's too late. You've paid the subscription and it just shows up and you're upset and you're annoyed, but you need it anyway, so you just use it. That's what this team's been so far. I'm sorry for all of the pain and anguish they've caused you. It has been bumpy. It has been horrible. Do I feel any better about the fact they lost all of their dignity in the tie to the Bengals? Not really. I've been sat on it for a week, and if I'm honest, it's only got worse. Like, we've now seen Doug Peterson shouting at Howie Roseman on the sideline. We have now seen an extensive injury report where it's just easier to list the players that actually did practice than the ones that, like, it's odd. It's literally like nearly 30% of the roster that had missed practice this week. There are a lot of key absences, but I'll tell you what, okay? I'm a wholesome guy. I'm also soaking wet because it's pouring with rain outside and my coat doesn't have a hood, so my hair's all gone. But I want to do something different today's podcast, and I don't mean sing. And I don't mean throw it back to all the bad analogies, although they are coming, all right? As of right now, the offense, just to read this out, okay, in yards per drive, they're ranked 28th. Drive success, 28th. They rank 29th on EPA per play. 9th on third down, though, so bloody well done. That's good, isn't it? Hey, actually, do you know what? Let's have a round of applause for that. I mean, let's just actually have a round of applause for the Eagles for being in the top 10 on third down. I mean, yes, every drive ends in a third down because they mess up first and second down, and then they end up playing third and 14. But it's not the point, all right? They're 21st in red zone touchdown percentage. It's not a vibe. The offense is struggling. The Niners defense, conversely, is like third in EPA. It's second in points per drive. It's seventh in drive success rate. They're doing very well, which, considering they have got like no players right now, there's no Bosa, for instance, there's no Sherman. It's going to be awful. So instead of being a negative Nelly, I'm going to use my crystal ball knowledge, my NFL fundamental understanding. I'm going to give you 5 things I would do to fix this Eagles offense this week. All right? Because every other week it's not going to work, probably. Because it's, well, I don't know. I mean, like, the Niners, for instance, okay, are a team predicated on the West Coast offense. It's a Shanahan system, right? That was the most conveniently timed email noise I've ever heard in my life, right? So I don't think the Eagles are going to have screen success. I don't think they're going to have the same success against other teams that they were with screens and dumps and all the rest of it. But what I do think they can do is find certain holes in the Niners game. So the first thing they absolutely have to do to get better and to stand a chance of any mild success this week, a week without Deshaun Jackson, without Alshon Jeffrey, without Jalen Reagor, without JJ, that doesn't really matter. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of weapons missing. They've got to use motion pre-snap. Absolute must. All right, the Niners do it more than any other team in the NFL, which is going to ruin Nate Gary's life. It is going to make him spin like a Beyblade, and I hope you all understand that. It's going to be absolutely tragic, but it'll be fun, right? It'll be fun to watch from a sadistic standpoint. The Eagles, conversely, do it the least of any team in the NFL. Now, why would motion matter? Like, what difference does it make if you bring a receiver from this side to that side? A, it's going to give you a very clear tip-off if they're in man or zone. For a Niners defense that does like to disguise a lot of looks and kind of just, they're a bit, I don't know, they're a bit of a tricky defense to read. Like, they're predominantly a bit of a zone defense. It's why Richard Sherman makes his pay dirt there. But they do mix in, especially with those linebackers, especially with those edge rushers. They like to do a lot of twists, a lot of stunts. They like to just try and force those mismatches up front. That's bad news for an offensive line that is already down to its bare bones of depth, right? If the Eagles can create unbalanced formations and use guys like John Hightower, or use guys even like Zach Ertz or Dallas Goedert, and create those unbalanced looks, or bring nub tight ends and move them over and overload one side, the difference that makes, the attention that would draw from a safety, do you know what? It might not be game changing. It might not make Carson Wentz a much better mechanical quarterback, because right now I think Optimus Prime would struggle to do that. But I do think it would bring the Eagles enough of a timing advantage. Like, if a safety is locked into a tight end and then suddenly has to account for a wild card receiver sprinting about in the backfield, it's going to draw their attention. You've got Jalen Hurts Okay, I've done videos on this channel before, looking at Martin on Inreg and how he used Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson in 2 QB sets, right? For me, that's absolutely imperative. Like, they've done it 3 snaps, and he had 2 snaps as a quarterback and fumbled 1. Don't worry about that. Get him on the field at a wide receiver. Motion him across the line of scrimmage because they know he has a threat to throw the ball. Do anything you can to force that defense to change the flow of traffic, to move a different way, to account for a threat that wasn't previously there. Anything that's going to give Carson Wentz a little bit of time, a little bit more open space, because right now he couldn't hit a barn door with a banjo. That accuracy will not improve. But if you've got a bigger area of space to get that ball into, the room for error is going to improve with it. So absolutely, motion shifting. The second thing which is attached to that, and it's not one of the 5, RPOs. I can't remember the last time the Eagles ran an RPO, or at least did so successfully. It was once a staple of their offense. And much like motions and shifts, what it's going to do is create leverage one way or the other. If that defensive end comes down and blocks in Carson Wentz, you've got a running back in the flat, potentially a dump pass. All right? If you hand it off and the defensive end stays back, there's just a lot that can go on with an RPO that helps Carson Wentz, that frees his linebackers, that are constantly watching that ball. Look at what we saw last week. Look at what we saw in the week before it, okay? Joe Burrow is as much of a pocket passer as anyone, and he gets hit 18 times and sacked 8. You look at the difference between that and Jared Goff and the way those offenses are run, and the attention still goes the same way. Slot receiver, dominant run game, right? Joe Mixon, Tyler Boyd, and then you go to the Rams, you've got Cooper Kupp. Obviously, very differently, they can't really target Robert Woods with Darius Slay draped all over him, but again, prominent run game. You're not going to see that with the Bengals. The Rams disguise it. It's a lot of RPOs, a lot of misdirection, a lot of play action. And the Eagles aren't setting that up, and we'll get to that a bit later. So absolutely, the big thing for me here, motion shifts and RPO. Anything pre-snap or mid-snap for an RPO to just get the attention away from Carson Wentz, to get the attention away from the primary read where he tends to stick to shake things up without shaking it at all. That's what this offense needs. It needs that juice. It needs that little bit of spice, all right? Point 2, and I feel like I say this every year without fail in the first 5 weeks of the season, just run the ball. Just run the damn ball. Like, you have got Miles Sanders, someone that was averaging 5 yards per carry last week, and he gets, what, 18? While Carson Wentz has to throw. And it wasn't even like they were losing and they've got to throw from behind. There's no need for it. There is no need to be running that little and then using them on screens instead, which just clearly aren't working. The Eagles are about as efficient in the screen game as... I don't even want to make that comparison again to me in the DMs, but unfortunately we might have to, okay? It's absolutely shambolic right now because the receivers can't block, because all of their big physical receivers are down and injured. You cannot run screens if there are no blockers up front. And if you've got less athletic offensive linemen playing, they're going to struggle, right? So you've got to run the ball. And the big thing here is that for a team that isn't insistent on running the ball this season, despite having such a strong running back in Miles Sanders, they're 5th in success rate on the ground. They're 5th. An offense that's this bad, right, that's this broken, that's this painful to watch, a 5th, somehow 5th in success rate on the ground. Right? It's I don't get it. They're 19th in explosive plays on the ground, but the Niners have given up 12 explosive runs this season, the 8th worst in the NFL. And when they're losing those pieces, when they're losing those prominent guys off the edge who can read and react, who can seal the edge, it gives the Eagles a chance. And a chance is all they need. They are 5th in success rate on the ground. You have got Miles Sanders, okay? You've got a quarterback that's struggling, a great running back, an athletic offensive line against a D-line that is broken with injury. And I still guarantee they throw it 35 times, and I still guarantee it backfires. They've got to run the ball. And if Miles Sanders is on a pitch count, that's fine. Just do something with Corey Clement that isn't a screen. Do something with Boston Scott that isn't an outside zone. Just get them into space to make plays. Stop trying to lob the same mud at the wall, hoping that it sticks, because it won't. Because it won't. So you have to do something. Just run the ball, be a run-first team. And it goes back to roster management. They absolutely should have brought in someone like Devonta Freeman. They maybe could have gone after a Carlos Hyde. They should have tried to retain Jordan Howard. Or they could have called up Elijah Holyfield. Whatever reason they haven't, they've got that Justin fella on the team who's done nothing so far, which is great. Like, if it's me as head coach, run the ball, get the tempo set. All right, forget everything else. Try and dominate time of possession. Go back to basics and sort this out. Because right now, there is no offensive identity. And Doug Peterson met with the media today to explain his offensive identity and gave the most bollocks description I've ever heard in my life. It was terrible. No more. Go, you want an identity? Run the ball. Be a rushing first team. Don't lie and say you play the strengths to your quarterback and then do the total opposite. It's like me saying I'm a great cook and then trying to cook a girl a meal and accidentally almost poisoning her with carbon monoxide because I don't know how to work an oven. That's a true story, alright? Don't be that guy, Doug Peterson. It doesn't suit you. The third one, alright, out of 5. Be protective with the ball. Carson Wentz has 8 passes that have gone 20 plus yards. Okay? The Niners have allowed the 31st most big passing plays. Which means they're at the bottom of the league. Which means they don't allow much. They do not allow much. They sit there and they absorb and no one can get a ball downfield. This is not the time for Carson Wentz to play hero. For Carson Wentz to play gunslinger. For Carson Wentz to lob up a ball to, I don't know, a John Hightower and expect miracles if the touch isn't there, which it hasn't been. Now, Hightower got separation a lot in week 3, a lot. He got open a lot and wasn't really targeted. This isn't the game to take those risks, Carson. I know you are a daredevil. I know you love getting that ball out and letting it rip and just saying, fuck it and chuck it and just launching it and not really caring about where it goes and just sort of hoping for the best. And you could be me to the camera away and the ball would end up over it. This is not the game for that. It's check down or touchdown. If you're certain of the throw, make it. You do not force it into tight windows. You do not put it into spaces where there isn't actually a space. You're just kind of hoping that the receiver makes an adjustment. You be smart with it. Take the damn check downs. Be aware. And not just with passing, but in terms of positioning. Like, in terms of pocket presence, in terms of knowing when to tuck it and run, when to slide, when to not just aimlessly launch it at the ground when you're being hit and sack it and fumbled for a 57th career time. Ignore that. Just be smart. Be protective. Stop trying to play the hero because it will not work against this defense. This is a game you need to be mature, realize you can't do it all yourself because you're the reason this team is struggling predominantly. You have to protect the ball. Stop the Niners offense getting it, especially with Deebo Samuel back. Because do you want to see Deebo Samuel and Nate Gary or Carson Wentz launching balls at floors being sacked? It's a rock and a hard place. I will take Carson Wentz to be protective. Take it on bubble screens, take it on sweeps, do whatever, but do not just aimlessly launch it into a pack of players and hope for the best, because it will not get you anywhere. Number 4, roll Wentz out and do it the right way. Do it smartly, okay? I can't tell you how infuriating it is seeing Carson Wentz rolled out to the left. Okay? And this has happened several times. It happened last season, it's happened in 2018, it's happening now. Carson Wentz is a right-handed quarterback. Rolling him out to his left and throwing across his body helps absolutely no one. Okay? It's shambolic. I don't understand why the team keep doing it. Why Carson Wentz is doing sprint outs to the left and then just... it makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. Roll him out to the right where he can make a play. Stop making him throw across his body behind a left tackle that is useless. And I'm sorry, Jason Peters, you demanded extra money to play a position you're sucking at. Alright? You were given a contract to play football. It's a totally different debate. But you were given a contract to play football. You signed it. You got a bit cocky and went, oh, I'm the mighty Jason Peters. Bow down before me. If you want me to play over there, you give me more money. The Eagles gave in and that's the response you give. Alright? That's not enough. The right side of the line is what the pinnacle right now. Okay? The Eagles need to build on that. They've got to use Lane Johnson. Like, get Carson Wentz in behind that. That's where you're going to make your pay dirt. Rolling him out to the left behind Nate Herbig, who hadn't... Do you know what? Nate Herbig played his ass off, but he had never played left guard before until last week. And behind Jason Peters, like, nah. I'm not having Carson Wentz rolling out to the left. It's pathetic, okay? If you want to run play action, stop putting him inside the pocket. If Carson Wentz is getting pressure from an offensive line and is mechanically unstable and is struggling to get velocity on the ball or touch on the ball for whatever fundamental reason, where that leg isn't cocked properly and he's overexerting or extorting that upper body, do not roll him to the left where he's going to have to do it again but across his body. It's pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. And number 5, Doug Peterson, stop with the dodgy play calling. For the love of God, just sort it out, mate. It's not hard. 3rd and 12 is not a screen pass opportunity. 3rd and 8 is not a screen pass opportunity. 2nd and 12, maybe. 3rd and 9 is not an inside zone run opportunity. Be smart. Somehow the Eagles are 9th on 3rd down. I don't know how. Probably because they've got so many of them and every drive's like a 3 and out anyway. I don't know. But be smart with the play calling, okay? Get guys into a position. Basically, the one person tying all of this together right now is Doug Peterson. And I'm talking shifts and motions. And I'm talking misdirects. And I'm talking Jalen Hurts out there. And anything that gets this team in a position to deliver something offensively. Otherwise, they've got no chance. They have to play absolute shithouse football this weekend if they have any chance of winning. And that means playing keep away. The effective parking the bus method in soccer, all right? Keep the ball away from them. Drag those drives out to be 17, 18 plays. Just 3-yard gain, 3-yard gain, 3-yard gain, 4th and 1 go. Something shithouse. Just keep that clock going. Keep the ball in bounds. Run it up the middle with Miles Sanders. Get Carson Wentz on rollouts. Allow him to scramble. Use Jalen Hurts. Protect the ball. And stop being so ignorant to what doesn't work and throwing the same mud at a wall. That's how there's going to be any success this game. And that is also where we're going to end the first segment of the show. If you agree with me, let me know in the comments. Tweet me at Liam Jenkins PSN. If you're watching on YouTube, salut, comment ça va, comment t'appelles-tu? Alright, we're going to head over for the rest of the show to PSN Radio. We've got another 20 minutes. I answer your questions. If you want to check it out, PSN Radio down below. Go subscribe. From myself, Liam Jenkins. I love you. We'll see you soon. Ta-ta.